My husband told me to leave after I wouldn't apologize to his mom. Now they're both begging me to come back. I never thought my marriage would come to this, but here I am married to Jason, who is 35 for 3 years. If you ask anyone, they would probably say we had a solid marriage until you bring his mother, Linda, who is 58, into the equation. From the start, Linda made it clear I was not her choice for Jason, not outright, of course. It was always in the little digs, the backhanded compliments, the subtle ways she tried to remind me that Jason had a family before me, and she was the most important part of it. At first, I ignored it. Jason was my husband, not Linda. I figured she would warm up to me eventually. I was wrong. It started with passive-aggressive comments. If I made dinner, she would smile and say, "Oh, this is interesting. Jason always loved home-cooked meals." If I mentioned work, she would sigh and say, "I just do not know how women juggle everything. I could never imagine prioritizing a job over my family." She never outright said I was failing as a wife, but she made sure I felt it. Jason's response was just let it go. She does not mean anything by it. I let it go over and over again. Then Thanksgiving happened. We hosted dinner for Jason's family at our house. I spent all day cooking. I wanted to impress them, to show them I cared. The moment Linda took a bite, she dramatically paused, put her fork down, and laughed. Well, I guess this is one way to make mashed potatoes. The whole table went silent. Jason's sister looked mortified. Jason? He said nothing. I felt humiliated, but fine. Maybe she just did not like my cooking. I could move past that. Then came the comments about my job. Linda did not approve of me working full-time. She had very strong opinions about what a wife should be doing. "I just do not know how you two do it," she said one day while sitting in my kitchen drinking coffee she did not even ask permission to make. "I would be so scared to rely on a career. Anything can happen. If something goes wrong, Jason would have to step up and take care of everything. That is a lot of pressure on a man." Translation: I should quit my job and become a stay-at-home wife. That was the moment something in me snapped. "Linda, let us be clear. Jason is not my boss. He does not let me work. I have a career because I want one, and I do not need you reminding me that I should be grateful for my husband providing for me when I provide for myself." I said it calmly, firmly. I did not yell. I did not insult her, but you would have thought I just punched her in the face. Linda's eyes welled up with tears. She covered her mouth like she was completely shattered. "I was just trying to give some advice. You do not have to humiliate me." Jason walked in just in time to see her crying. His reaction: he got mad at me. "Why do you always have to be like this? She was just talking. You embarrassed her." I was stunned. Embarrassed her? This woman had been tearing me down for years with little jabs, little digs, and I was the problem. I told him flat out I am not apologizing for defending myself. Jason's face hardened. "Then maybe you should leave until you are ready to be reasonable." He did not yell. He did not argue. He just said it like it was a perfectly normal thing to do, to kick his wife out of her own home because she would not grovel to his mother. I grabbed my bag and left. Jason did not try to stop me. I drove straight to my best friend Sarah's apartment. When she opened the door, I barely got a word out before she dragged me inside, sat me on the couch, and handed me a drink. "Okay, tell me everything." I did not even cry. I was too angry. I told her everything, every insult, every time Jason dismissed me, everything. Sarah was livid. "You know this is not normal, right? A husband who loves you does not tell you to leave just to keep his mom happy." I knew she was right, but still there was a tiny nagging voice in my head whispering, "Maybe you overreacted. Maybe Jason just panicked." Then the text started. "Jason, I did not mean it like that. Can we just talk? Jason, I overreacted. The house feels empty without you. Please come home. Jason, are you seriously ignoring me?" Then from Linda. "Linda, I am sorry if you felt offended by what I said, but we need to move past this. Jason is really upset if I felt offended." Sarah snatched my phone out of my hands. "Let me guess, no real apology, just guilt tripping." I nodded. She tossed the phone on the table. "You are not going back there just because they suddenly feel bad they did not care when they kicked you out." She was right. I was not going back, and I was about to find out just how desperate Jason and Linda were about to become. Ignoring Jason's text was easier than expected. The first one came less than an hour after I had walked out of the house. Then another, and another. At first they were calm. "Let us just talk. I did not mean it that way. Come home and we can work this out." Then came the guilt tripping. "The house feels empty without you. I do not know why you are overreacting like this. Are you really going to throw everything away over one argument?" I left them on red. Then Linda joined in. A long paragraph popped up from her name, but I did not even have to read it to know exactly what it would say. A fake apology buried under a pile of passive-aggressive jabs. I skimmed through it. "I am sorry if you felt offended by what I said. That was never my intention, but I really think you are blowing this out of proportion and it is hurting Jason. He is miserable. Do you not love him?" Sarah took my phone and read it out loud in an exaggerated, fake sweet voice before rolling her eyes. "Classic. She is sorry if you felt offended. Not sorry for what she did. and she immediately flips it into how you are the bad guy for standing up for yourself. She tossed my phone on the table and crossed her arms. If you go back without him acknowledging what he did, the cycle never ends. She was right. Jason wanted to sweep everything under the rug and pretend this was just a misunderstanding. It was not. For the first time, I was not letting it go. That night, there was a knock at Sarah's door, a loud, persistent knock. We exchanged a look before Sarah peeked through the peephole. Then she groaned. "It is Jason!" I barely had time to react before he knocked again, then again. Sarah threw the door open, stepping in front of me like a bouncer outside a nightclub. Jason looked awful. His hair was a mess, his eyes bloodshot like he had not slept in days. He was gripping his phone in one hand and running the other through his hair. "I just need to talk to her." Sarah did not move. "Did she tell you to come here?" Jason shook his head. Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Then why are you here?" Jason's jaw clenched and he looked past her straight at me. "Please, just come home." Behind him, two of Sarah's neighbors had stepped out onto their balconies watching the scene unfold. Jason noticed two shifting uncomfortably under their stares. Sarah did not budge. "Talk here or not at all." Jason exhaled sharply, then turned back to me. "I screwed up, I know I did, but this has gotten out of hand. My mom is devastated, I am miserable, and all of this could have been avoided if you just—" He stopped himself, but I knew exactly how that sentence was going to end. "If you just apologized." I took a slow breath. "If you are about to say, 'This is my fault,' you might as well turn around and leave now." Jason's expression shifted. He ran a hand through his hair again. "That is not what I meant. I just mean this is not worth ruining our marriage over," Sarah scoffed. Jason pushed forward. "I will make it up to you. We can take a vacation, just us, or I will get you something nice, whatever you want, just come home." He was offering things, instead of addressing the problem. I shook my head. "This is not about a vacation or gifts. It is about respect. Your mother disrespects me, you let her. And then when I finally stood up for myself, you told me to leave my own house." Jason exhaled sharply. "I just wanted peace at my expense." Silence. Sarah shifted her weight, arms still crossed. Jason looked exhausted, but I was not about to pity him. "I made it clear I am not coming back until you set boundaries with your mother. And if you cannot, this marriage will not survive." His shoulders tensed. "Why cannot you just be the bigger person?" That was it. I let out a small, humorless laugh. "I have been the bigger person since the day I married you, and look where it got me." More silence, then he snapped. His face twisted with frustration and he shook his head. "You are impossible." And then he stormed off. Sarah shut the door behind him. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she let out a low whistle. That was a disaster. I exhaled and sat down, rubbing my temples. I do not think he is ever going to get it. My phone buzzed. It was Jason's sister. I hesitated before opening the message. "I do not know what happened, but Mom is hysterical, and Jason is saying you are being unreasonable. Please, cannot you just smooth things over?" Sarah took one look at my face and grabbed my phone again. "Oh, come on, of course they are bringing in reinforcements." I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. For a brief moment, I questioned myself. Was I really being too harsh? Was it worth all this drama? Sarah sat down next to me and tapped her fingers against the couch. This is what manipulative people do. They make you question your own boundaries so they do not have to change. She was right. Jason did not show up to apologize. He showed up to convince me to let it go, to bribe me into silence. And when that did not work, he got angry. This was not over, not even close, and I was about to find out just how far they were willing to go. Jason went silent after his dramatic stunt at Sarah's apartment. He stopped texting. No more guilt trips, no more begging, just complete silence. I should have expected it was not going to last. Instead of apologizing, he and Linda shifted their tactics. The first sign of trouble came from a call from my mom. She was livid. Apparently, Linda had been busy. She called every relative she could think of, spinning a new version of events. According to her, I had abandoned Jason over a petty argument, was acting out of pride, and was letting my stubbornness ruin my marriage. Jason had fully leaned into the victim narrative. Suddenly, I was getting messages from extended family members I had not spoken to in months. "You know, marriage takes work, right? Maybe you should just compromise. Jason is heartbroken. Is this really worth it?" I ignored them, but my parents did not. My mom called me back an hour later, still furious. She had shut down Linda, immediately making it clear that what Jason did was inexcusable. My dad, he was ready to drive to Jason's house himself. I let them handle it. I was not wasting my energy defending myself to people who were not there. Then, I got a message from an unexpected name. Jason's cousin Megan. I barely knew her. She lived in another state and we had only met a couple of times at family gatherings, but she had seen Linda's behavior firsthand. "I just want you to know that I believe you. My ex went through the same thing with Aunt Linda. She manipulated him until he finally left me, and Jason never did anything to stop her. I asked her what she meant. Megan's ex had been completely isolated by Linda. She twisted every argument, every disagreement, until he believed she was the only person he could trust. When Megan finally pushed back, he gave in to Linda's pressure and left her. I was not shocked. I asked Megan if she ever called Jason out for it. Oh yeah, he always acted like it was not his problem. It was a pattern, and I was not about to be another name on Linda's list. The next day, I woke up to dozens of messages in the family group chat. Linda had gone nuclear. She wrote a long, dramatic message about how families should stick together and how some people were tearing apart the family over nothing. I was done playing nice. I replied directly. Linda, let us be clear. Jason did not lose his wife over nothing. He lost his wife because he kicked me out of my own house to protect your feelings instead of standing up for his marriage. That was his choice, not mine. She went silent. Then Jason finally texted. Are you serious? You are making this worse by dragging everyone into it. I stared at my screen for a second before replying. You mean the people your mom dragged into it first? He did not respond for a while. Then this is not helping, I texted back. You kicked me out instead of standing up for me. I am not pretending that did not happen. A few minutes later, another message. Fine, what do you want? I called him. I was done going in circles. I laid it out plain and simple. We need therapy. If you will not work on this with me, there is nothing left to fix. He immediately resisted. I do not need some outsider telling me how to run my marriage. I did not argue. Then there is no marriage left. Silence. Then for the first time, he hesitated. Let me think about it. I hung up. Not even an hour later, Linda lost it. She sent a voice message crying dramatic sniffles, calling me cruel for putting Jason in this situation, telling me I was ruining the family. I did not respond, but something must have finally clicked for Jason because 2 hours later, I got a simple text. Let us talk. And for the first time, he actually sounded serious. But I was not letting my guard down just yet. This was not over, not by a long shot. Jason wanted to talk. I agreed, but only in a neutral location. No home turf advantage, no Linda lurking in the background, just us. We met at a cafe near Sarah's apartment. Jason was already sitting at a corner table when I walked in, gripping his coffee like it was holding him together. He looked tired, disheveled, like he had not been sleeping. I sat down. The first thing out of his mouth, let us just move past this. Not, I am sorry, not, I was wrong, just let us move past this. I waited, gave him a chance to fix it. Instead, he kept going. This is getting out of hand. The family is upset, mom is devastated, we do not need to make it worse. No accountability, just damage control. I folded my arms. What exactly do you think we are moving past? He sighed, rubbing his temple like this was exhausting for him. Look, I know I messed up, okay, but I did not mean it like that. I just wanted to keep the peace. There it was, the same excuse over and over again. I pointed out the obvious. Keeping the peace meant throwing me out of my own house. He exhaled sharply. I just panicked. I did not think you would actually leave. That was the problem. He never thought I would leave. I laid it out for him. I was not coming back until he acknowledged what he did and set firm boundaries with his mother. His jaw tightened. You want me to cut off my mom? I shook my head. I want you to act like you are married to me and not her. Before he could respond, my phone buzzed. Linda again. She had sent a long emotional message. I love you like a daughter. I never meant to hurt you. This family is falling apart and it breaks my heart. Please let us just put this behind us. Right? Because nothing says I love you like a daughter. Quite like manipulating your son into kicking out his wife. I did not respond, and just like clockwork, when I did not reply, Linda's next message flipped completely. I do not understand how you can be so heartless. Jason is suffering because of you. I hope you are happy tearing this family apart. Jason saw me glance at my phone. She means well, he muttered. That was it, that was my breaking point. She does not mean, well, she means to control you. Jason clenched his jaw but did not argue. I leaned forward. You put yourself in this position, not me. You, the one who told me to leave instead of standing up for me. For the first time, he hesitated. I could see it, the tiny crack in his certainty. I pressed forward. You have one chance, either we go to therapy and fix this, or I am done. Silence. Then I do not need therapy. I stood up. Then there is nothing left to talk about. Jason panicked. Wait, just wait. He ran a hand down his face, looking like he wanted to be anywhere but here. I need time to think. I gave him one last look. You do not have much left. Then I walked out. That night, Linda called, crying, dramatic sniffles, begging. Jason is depressed. He is not eating. He is shutting down. You are his wife. You cannot just abandon him like this. I let her finish, then I said the one thing she never expected. Jason's emotions are his own responsibility, not mine. She went silent. Then she snapped. You have changed him. He was never like this before you came along. I did not even bother responding. I just hung up. Minutes later, Jason texted, I cannot lose you, let us talk. I agreed on my terms. This time he was going to listen, and if he did not, then this marriage was over. Jason wanted to talk this time, made the rules. We met at a cafe again, public neutral, no distractions, no Linda hovering in the background, no home. Court advantage for him, just us. He was already there when I arrived. His leg bounced under the table fingers, tapping against his coffee cup. He looked like he had not slept. I sat down. The moment I did, he leaned forward. Let us fix this. Not, I am sorry, not I was wrong, just let us fix this. Like this was some misunderstanding we could smooth over instead of a choice he made that blew up in his face. I did not respond. He exhaled sharply. I messed up, okay? I panicked. I acted emotionally. I should not have told you to leave. I let that sit for a second before answering. You did not panic. You made a choice. His fingers tightened around his coffee cup. I did not mean it that way. I leaned back in my chair. You keep saying that like it changes anything. Silence. Then he tried again. I was caught off guard. My mom started crying, and I just did not know what to do. I gave him a long look. You are a grown man, and your first reaction was to throw out your wife instead of standing up to your mother. His jaw clenched. I just said did not want to upset her. There it was. I nodded slowly. So you would rather upset me instead. Jason stared at the table. I pushed forward. Do you even realize what you are asking me to come back to? You are asking me to walk back into that house knowing that if your mother pulls this again, you will take her side again. His fingers tightened. That is not fair. I shrugged. It is exactly what happened. Silence. Jason's knee bounced faster. His eyes darted around, looking anywhere but at me. Then he let out a breath. I do not know how to handle her. It was the first real truth he had spoken since this entire mess started. I did not let up. Then you need to figure it out because I am not living my life like this. He looked up desperate. Cannot you just compromise a little? I laughed, not a ha-ha funny laugh, a sharp, humorless one. I have been compromising since the day I married you, and look where it got me. His face fell for the first time. He actually looked scared, like he finally understood I was not bluffing. I leaned forward. I am not your mother's enemy, but if you keep treating me like I am, I will not be your wife either. He swallowed hard. I just need time. I did not blink. You do not have much left. Jason sat back, rubbing a hand down his face. He looked exhausted, worn down like a man who is just now realizing the consequences of his own actions. He finally nodded. I need to figure out how to handle my mom. I stood up, then do it, but I am not waiting forever. His eyes shot up. I gave him a deadline, one chance if he did not set boundaries with his mother. I was filing for divorce, no more waiting, no more excuses. Jason looked like I had slapped him, like he never actually thought I would walk away, but I would, and for the first time I think he knew it. I turned and walked out, and as I stepped into the fresh air, one thing was crystal clear. I would never settle for a husband who did not support me, not ever again. A week passed in silence, no texts from Jason, no calls, nothing. At first I thought, maybe he was really taking time to think things through, but after a few days I started wondering if maybe he was not thinking at all. Maybe he was just avoiding the situation. Nothing about this felt right. I tried to distract myself. I spent more time with Sarah, got back into my hobbies, and started looking for apartments. But it was hard to ignore the nagging feeling that Jason was not even trying. Was he really reflecting, or was he just hoping I would forget about everything and come crawling back? That is when Sarah dropped the truth bomb. Do not let him use silence as a tactic he is not thinking he is avoiding. If he wanted to fix things, he would be working for it. You need to stop waiting for him to change his mind. It stung, but deep down I knew she was right. Just when I was starting to accept that Jason was not going to do anything, I got a text from him. Can we meet? I need to tell you something important. I agreed, but I went into it with zero expectations. We met at a park, the same spot where we used to go when things were easier. He sat down across from me, looking uncharacteristically nervous. The kind of nervous I had not seen in him before. I have been thinking, he started, but then paused like he was choosing his words carefully. I did not interrupt. I had a feeling I knew where this was going, and then it came. Jason admitted that before deciding anything, he went to Linda first. My stomach dropped. I could feel the air in the park shift, and I suddenly could not breathe. He said it like it was a logical step, like of course he needed to get her perspective. He had gone to his mother first instead of his wife. I felt something snap inside of me. I was calm, almost eerily calm, but I could not stop the words that came out. So you needed your mother's approval to decide if you were going to respect your wife. He looked startled, but only for a second. I just wanted her perspective, he said, as if that could explain it all. I get it now, okay? I see your side. It did not matter. I could not even hear his words anymore. The damage had been done. I stared at him for a long time. No, Jason. If you really understood, you would not have needed to ask her what to do in the first place. He started panicking, his voice rising a little desperate. I will cut her off. I will just give me one last chance, I promise. I will make it right. I did not believe him not anymore. You cannot fix this, I said quietly. It is too late. His face twisted with shock and disbelief. Please, I cannot lose you. His voice cracked. I never thought you would actually leave me. The truth hit me harder than anything he had said. Jason did not think I would leave. He thought I was just going to keep accepting the crumbs. I stood up. I am filing for divorce. I said it was final. There was no hesitation. I saw him break down right there in front of me. No, please, he begged. But I could not be swayed. You had your chance, Jason. I am done. I turned to walk away, but I heard my phone buzz in my pocket. It was a call from Linda. I did not answer. She called again, then again. I could feel the rage building in my chest. Finally, I picked up, but I did not say anything. You ruined his life. You know that Linda's voice was shrill, full of fury. You have taken everything away from him. I let her rant. I let her yell then. When she finally paused for breath, I said the only thing I could. I did not ruin his life, you did that when you taught him that your feelings matter more than his wife's. I ended the call before she could respond. That was the last time I ever heard from Linda. I blocked her number, deleted everything, no more interference. I turned to Jason, who was still sitting there, eyes wide, face pale. You and I are done from now on. You will only contact me through lawyers. I walked away feeling like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I started the next chapter of my life that day. I found an apartment, one of my own, one where I could finally feel free. Every step I took away from that relationship was a step toward healing. I knew what I wanted, and I knew I was not going to settle for less anymore. The hardest part was over. The rest was going to be better. I had no idea what the future held, but for the first time in a long time, I felt hopeful. It did not take long for Jason to start bombarding me with messages after I made it clear that I was filing for divorce. The texts came fast and furious. I can change, he wrote. I will do whatever it takes, just come back. He was relentless, sending more and more each day. At first, I wondered if maybe this was a turning point for him, but after a few hours, I realized it was the same old pattern. He was not changing, he was just trying to manipulate me into feeling guilty. I did not respond, I did not even glance at the messages. I knew where it was headed. This was not about him suddenly having a revelation about how he treated me, it was about him losing control. He could not fathom that I was serious. Then things escalated. Linda showed up at my workplace. I was in the middle of a meeting when I got a text from security. There is a woman here asking for you, she says it is urgent. I already knew who it was. It was not like Linda had left me alone. I went down to the lobby, and there she was standing with tears in her eyes, clutching her purse like it was her lifeline. She was trying to play the victim again. She begged me to reconsider. Please do not do this to Jason. You are ruining everything. I never meant for this to happen. I was done. I did not entertain it. I was not about to let her manipulate me like this. I turned to the security guard and quietly asked him to escort her out. It was the cleanest way to handle it. As she walked away, still pleading, I texted Jason, letting him know that his mother's harassment would not be tolerated anymore. I thought that would be the end of it, but I was wrong. The divorce papers went through, and when I officially filed, Jason's reaction was pure shock. I honestly do not think he believed I would actually go through with it. He kept texting me in disbelief. You are really doing this over one argument. That is when the real ugliness started. The first thing Jason did was try to paint himself as the victim. He told anyone who would listen that I had thrown away our marriage over one argument. I do not know if he thought repeating that lie enough would make it true, or if he was hoping I would cave and come back. Either way, it was not going to work. I had all the proof I needed, screenshots, the exact messages where he kicked me out, the refusal to defend me, the emotional manipulation. I shared the screenshots with a few close friends, mutual acquaintances who had been asking me for the truth. It was not about revenge, it was about making sure the narrative did not get twisted. I was not going to let Jason get away with rewriting history. When I posted everything online, the response was overwhelming. People who I thought had always been on his side came forward to tell me that they had seen the way Linda had manipulated him. Some even confessed that they had always thought he was too scared of his mother, but they did not want to get involved. Now they could see that I was not the one at fault here. But it did not stop there. Linda was not finished. I got a long drawn-out letter from her a few days later. She claimed that she never meant any harm and that all she wanted was a close relationship with me. She was so sorry for what happened, she said, but she had just been trying to protect her son. I did not even read the whole thing. I blocked her number immediately after. There was no point in engaging with someone who thought guilt tripping was the answer. By then, Jason had started spiraling. He was not sending texts anymore, now he was leaving voicemails at 3 in the morning. The first one was a mess. He was crying, barely able to form a coherent sentence. I lost everything I lost. I never thought you would really leave me. Please do not do this. You are all I had. It was almost laughable. If he had cared about me that much, he would not have treated me like I was disposable. But he had not been worried about losing me when he kicked me out. He had only cared when it was too late. I listened to the voicemail, then deleted it. The next day, I texted him just to make sure we were on the same page. You lost me when you told me to leave. Now I am just doing what you asked. And that was it. I blocked him completely. No more texts, no more calls. He was gone. I did not need to keep explaining myself. I did not need to keep listening to him try to guilt trip me into coming back. I was free now. I am focused on moving forward. I found a new place, one I actually love, and I have been making plans for. The future. The freedom I have now feels like a weight lifted off my shoulders. No more drama, no more manipulation, just me taking control of my life again. The divorce is almost finalized, and I am ready to close this chapter completely. It is time for me to move on and leave all that toxic baggage behind. The petty revenge is over. I have won by walking away and living my truth. It has been a couple of months since I finalized everything. The divorce is official, and I can honestly say that my life feels so much lighter. I moved into my new apartment not long after I blocked Jason for good. It is cozy, a little one-bedroom with soft, neutral colors and huge windows that let in the sunlight. The first few days, I could not stop smiling every time I walked through the door. I felt like I could finally breathe. There was no tension hanging over my head, no manipulative phone calls, no emails, no threats, just peace. I had forgotten what it felt like to feel truly at peace. The first night I slept here, I woke up without the usual knots in my stomach. I did not wake up to Jason's early morning complaints or his passive-aggressive behavior. I slept through the night without having to worry about him throwing a fit, because I wanted to do something for myself. I started eating better. Too funny how that happens when you do not live in constant stress. I had a few more quiet weeks, relishing in the freedom of being on my own. It was not just the space, it was the emotional relief that came with it. For the first time in ages, I felt like I could actually focus on me. But of course, Jason could not just let me move on without one last attempt. He sent me a final email a few weeks ago. The subject line was "Just let us talk," and the message itself was a long, rambling plea. He said he was really sorry for how things went down and that he wanted to talk things through. One last time, he claimed he had made a huge mistake and that we could fix everything if we just communicated. I did not even read the whole thing. I already knew what was in it, the same excuses, the same promises. I will change, I will do better. But I was not having it. I deleted it immediately. There is no point in reopening those wounds, especially when I had already seen what would happen if I gave him even the smallest piece of hope. The next big step I took was therapy. I had already made the decision to start working on myself, so I found a good therapist. At first, it was hard to talk about everything I had gone through in my marriage. But with time, I started understanding how much it had affected me. It was not just about Jason and Linda, it was about me losing myself in the process. Therapy helped me regain confidence and put the pieces back together. It was not just therapy that was changing things, though. I started reconnecting with friends, people I had completely isolated myself from during my marriage. It is strange how a toxic relationship can make you push everyone away, but that is exactly what happened. I had been so consumed with trying to make things work with Jason that I barely kept in touch with anyone outside of our little world. But now I felt like I could breathe again. I could enjoy nights out with friends without worrying about Jason's jealousy or Linda's judgment. It felt refreshing. Then things started picking up at work. I got a promotion, an opportunity I know I would not have had if I had stayed in that marriage. Jason had always been so focused on his needs that I could not focus on my career. But now I was making moves, and I could not help but think how much he had held me back. I had some moments where I could not help but wonder what was going on with him. I would hear things from mutual friends about his downward spiral. Apparently, Jason had been drinking heavily, complaining about how he had lost me over nothing. Some of his family members said he was miserable, but he never reached out to me. Honestly, I did not feel guilt, not anymore. If anything, I was just relieved. Relieved to be free from all that toxicity. Relieved that I no longer had to put up with his emotional blackmail or his mother's meddling. It was not my problem anymore. The divorce itself finally got processed, and it felt like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. Jason was still in shock that I followed through, but I was finally legally free. There was no more dragging my feet or second-guessing. Oddly enough, the most surprising thing happened. After that, Linda went silent for the first time in years. I did not get a single text call or message from her. I am guessing Jason must have finally realized I was not coming back. Life has been moving on, and I have been embracing it. I started casually dating again. It has been eye-opening. Dating feels completely different now. The men I have met have actually been respectful and considerate, which is a huge change from the way Jason used to treat me. No more mind games, no more walking on eggshells. I heard through the grapevine that Jason had moved back in with Linda. They say he is financially struggling now, unable to keep up with his bills, and that he is still blaming me for everything falling apart. But I do not feel anything about it. No triumph, no satisfaction. Honestly, I just feel grateful I got out before it dragged me down too. Jason's reality hit hard. I am sure it is sinking in now. He is back to living under her roof, still trying to find a way to make things work while clinging to the past. I am just relieved I am not part of that anymore. Looking back, it is surreal how much I allowed myself to settle, but now I know exactly what I deserve. I will not ever settle for less than respect, kindness, and understanding. I will not compromise myself for anyone, no matter how convincing their apologies may sound. I am starting fresh, and this time I am doing it on my own terms. This is just the beginning. It has been a year since I walked away from Jason and the mess that was my marriage. A lot has changed, and I cannot even begin to describe how much better my life is now. It feels like a completely different world, one where I am in control, where I can breathe without worrying about someone else's drama. At work, things have never been better. When I was with Jason, I was always second-guessing myself, always putting my career on the back burner, because I was too focused on him and his mom. Now I have taken on roles I once would have hesitated to accept. I am no longer afraid to take the lead, to step up and show what I am capable of. In the past year alone, I have gotten multiple promotions, and the opportunities just keep coming. There is a sense of fulfillment in my career that I never realized was missing before. I have also found a healthy relationship, something I never thought I would get after everything I went through with Jason. His behavior had made me question if I even deserved to be treated well, but my new partner has shown me what true respect and understanding look like. He listens when I speak, he respects my boundaries, and he treats me with kindness. It is honestly such a relief to be with someone who does not play games, who does not let family interfere in our relationship, and who is genuinely supportive. I cannot believe how much I had accepted in the past from someone who only made excuses for his behavior. Jason, while his life is not looking as bright, I have heard through mutual friends that he is still living with Linda, his mom, and it does not seem like things are getting any better for him. He is still struggling financially, and by all accounts, he is in a pretty bad emotional state. Apparently, he is constantly fighting with Linda, but instead of growing up and standing up for himself, he is just stuck there, dependent on her. It seems like Linda's control over him has only grown stronger. She is still smothering him the way she did with me, but now instead of just being the overbearing mother-in-law, she is the one he turns to for everything. He has been unable to stand on his own, and it is only getting worse. It is crazy to think that he is now living the life I tried to escape from. All that time he spent blaming me for everything, and now here he is, stuck in the same miserable situation he created for himself. A few weeks ago, I heard some tea from mutual friends. Apparently, Jason has been having second thoughts about everything. He regrets how he treated me, regrets losing me, but he still will not take full accountability. Instead of facing the reality of his actions, he is blaming Linda for ruining our marriage. It is almost comical to hear, knowing that it was his decisions that led to everything falling apart. He has been reaching out to mutual friends, trying to get them to mediate or talk to me, but I have shut down any possibility of that. When I heard that, I thought I would feel something, maybe a little pity or satisfaction, but honestly, I did not feel anything. I did not even care. It was hard to feel sorry for someone who refuses to own up to their mistakes. If he wanted to make a change, he would have done it a long time ago. Then a few days ago, I got a random anonymous message. I could tell right away it was Jason, but it was not from his number. It was just a vague message asking if I was doing okay and saying he misses me. At first, I thought about responding just to see what he would say, but then I realized it was not worth my time. I deleted it without a second thought. I cannot even explain how much I have grown over the past year. There is no part of me that even wants to go back to that life. I have learned so much about myself, about what I deserve, and I have realized just how much better off I am without the toxic baggage. Every day feels like a fresh start. I am not walking on eggshells anymore. I am not constantly looking over my shoulder or worrying about how my actions might upset someone else. I finally get to live for myself. What I thought was going to be a devastating chapter in my life turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me. If I had not left, I would still be stuck in a relationship where I was constantly sacrificing my happiness for someone who would never prioritize me. Looking back, I can see now that Jason was not just controlling, he was manipulative. And Linda's hold on him was even worse than I had realized. He was always too afraid to choose me over her, and now he is trapped in the same cycle of dependency. As for Linda, well, she is still blaming me for everything. She reached out again, claiming that I ruined Jason's life by leaving him, but I blocked her without a second thought. I have moved on. I am done with both of them. In a way, I guess I feel some closure, but not the kind of closure people usually talk about. It is not about feeling like I won, or that I got some revenge. It is about finally realizing how much better my life is now that I am free of them both. Jason. He made his bed, and now he has to lie in it. Maybe one day he will figure things out, but I am not waiting around for that. I am moving forward. No regrets. I have finally gotten the life I deserve. Thanks for watching. Subscribe Storycast for more amazing life stories.